The night air in the village of Umuaka was cool, and the moon shone brightly over the clay huts and tall palm trees. The whole village seemed to sleep peacefully, but deep inside the forest, the spirits whispered. They always did at night. Amara, the only daughter of her mother, sat quietly by the doorway of her hut, staring at the moon. She was beautiful, so beautiful that people often stopped to look at her. Her skin was smooth like ripe palm fruit, her eyes shone like dark water, and her hair was long and thick. But even with all her beauty, Amara was sad. Every day, she watched her friends marry. One by one, they left their father's house to begin a new life with their husbands. Amara was now 18, yet no man had come forward to ask for her hand. It was not that men didn't admire her, they did. In fact, many young men in the village spoke of her beauty. But each time one tried to get close, something strange would happen. The man would fall sick, his family would face trouble, or his heart would suddenly turn away. People began to whisper that perhaps Amara was cursed. Her mother, Ngozi, often reassured her. "My daughter," she would say softly while pounding yam, "beauty like yours is not hidden forever. The right man will come." But Amara only sighed. "Mama, I am tired of waiting. Maybe the gods have forgotten me." One hot afternoon, Amara carried a clay pot on her head and walked down the narrow path toward the river. The sun burned, and the cicadas cried loudly from the trees. When she reached the water, she bent down to fill her pot. The river was cool and calm, its surface glistening like glass. Suddenly, she felt a presence. She turned her head quickly. A man stood a few steps away. He was tall, handsome, and unlike anyone she had ever seen in the village. His skin glowed faintly under the sun, as though the river itself kissed him. His white cloth wrapped neatly around his waist, and his eyes were deep and gentle, yet carried something she could not explain. Amara's heart pounded. She had never seen him before, yet he looked at her as if he had known her forever. "Good afternoon," he greeted, his voice deep and smooth like flowing water. Amara bowed her head shyly. "Good afternoon, stranger." He smiled. "My name is Obinna. I have traveled far, and I came upon this river. I did not know I would meet such beauty here." Amara blushed and quickly looked away. No man had ever spoken to her like this before, softly, with respect, and with admiration that seemed to come from the soul. She filled her pot and balanced it on her head, ready to leave. But Obinna stepped closer. "Will I see you again?" he asked. Amara hesitated. She wanted to say no, for she had been warned not to talk to strangers. But something about his eyes, calm, kind, mysterious, held her still. "Yes," she whispered before walking away. That night, she could not sleep. She thought of him again and again. His smile. His voice. The way he looked at her, as though she was the only woman in the world. And the next day, when she went to the river again, he was there. "Amara," he called softly, as if he had always known her name. She froze. "How do you know my name?" He smiled. "The wind told me. The trees told me. Your beauty cannot be hidden from nature." His words frightened her, yet they also drew her closer. And so began their secret meetings. Every day, Amara returned to the river, and every day, Obinna was waiting. He told her stories about lands far away, about wealth and joy, about palaces made of shining stones. He promised her love greater than any man could give. Soon, Amara was no longer sad. Her laughter returned. Her eyes sparkled with happiness. She began to believe that the gods had answered her prayers. But her mother noticed the change. "Amara," Ngozi said one evening, "you smile to yourself too often these days. Tell me, who is he?" Amara blushed. "Mama, he is kind. He is strong. He says he loves me." Ngozi frowned. "Who is his family? Which village does he come from?" Amara hesitated. I don't know. Ngozi's eyes grew sharp. My daughter, a tree without roots cannot stand. Be careful. Not all men are who they say they are. But Amara only smiled, thinking her mother worried too much. One moonlit night, Obinna took her hand and led her deeper into the forest. The crickets sang, and the leaves whispered. Amara, he said gently, I love you. Leave your home and come with me. Be my wife, and I will give you a life beyond your dreams. Her heart raced. But my mother, my people. He pressed a finger to her lips. Do you not trust me? Have I not shown you my love? The world I will give you is far better than this village. Amara's chest tightened. She remembered her loneliness, her waiting, her tears when no man came. Now, here was a man offering her everything she ever wanted. I will come with you, she whispered. Obinna smiled, but his eyes glowed faintly in the moonlight. That night, Amara packed her few belongings. She left her mother's hut quietly, her heart torn but filled with excitement. She walked to the river where Obinna was waiting. Are you ready? He asked, his voice echoing strangely. Yes, she whispered. He took her hand. And as the moon shone above, he led her not along the path of men, but straight into the dark water of the river. Amara gasped. Obinna, where are we going? He only smiled. To the place where love never dies. The water swallowed them, and the night grew silent. The water was cold against Amara's skin as Obinna pulled her deeper. She wanted to scream, but no sound escaped her lips. The river should have drowned her, yet she did not choke. She could breathe. She could see. Her eyes widened. Beneath the river, there was another world. The water glowed faintly with blue light, as if stars had fallen inside. Fish of gold and silver swam around them, and plants that looked like flames waved slowly in the current. Strange creatures moved in the shadows, their eyes shining like lamps. Amara's heart pounded in fear and wonder. She clung to Obinna's hand, trembling. Do not fear, he whispered, his voice echoing through the water as though the river itself carried it. This is your new home. They passed through an arch made of shining coral and entered a great palace. It was unlike anything Amara had ever seen. The walls glistened with shells and pearls. The floor was made of smooth stones that sparkled like diamonds. Servants, some half human, half fish, others with faces that shifted like flowing water, bowed as Obinna entered. Amara's mouth fell open. Obinna turned to her, smiling. Welcome, my bride. Her heart leaped. Bride. So it was true. He wanted her as his wife. But as she looked around, she felt a shiver. The servants bowed too low, their eyes never meeting hers. The palace was beautiful, yet there was something cold in the air. Still, Obinna's hand was warm in hers, and she told herself not to be afraid. The days that followed were strange. Amara was given clothes woven from water itself, soft, shimmering, and weightless. She was fed fruits that glowed and fish that tasted like honey. At night, she lay beside Obinna in a chamber of shells, listening to the river's hum. At first, she was happy. This was more than she had ever dreamed of. No girl in her village could imagine such riches, such magic. But soon, she began to notice things. Whenever Obinna left the palace, the servants whispered and quickly looked away when she turned. When she asked questions, they only bowed and said, "You are blessed, my lady." One evening, Amara wandered to the edge of the palace. She looked beyond the glowing walls into the deep water. Shapes moved, their dark, twisting shapes with hungry eyes. She shuddered. Suddenly, an old woman appeared beside her. She was bent, her hair floating like white threads, her face wrinkled like dried leaves. She wore no fine clothes, only a plain wrapper. "My child," the woman said softly, "why have you come here?" Amara blinked. I came with Obinna. He is my husband. The woman's eyes filled with sorrow. Obinna is not what you think. Amara's breath caught. What do you mean? The woman leaned closer. He is no man. He is a spirit of the river. Many before you have come. Many before you have vanished. Do not trust him. Amara's heart raced. No, you are lying. He loves me. The old woman only shook her head and disappeared into the water like smoke. That night, Amara could not sleep. She lay beside Obinna, listening to his breathing. He looked peaceful, almost too perfect, as if his face had been carved. She touched his chest. It was warm, but when she placed her ear to it, she heard no heartbeat. Her blood ran cold. She pulled away quickly, fear gripping her. Could the old woman be right? The next day, she tried to speak to him. Obinna, she said softly as they walked through the palace garden, tell me about your family. Where is your mother? Your father? He smiled faintly. The river is my mother. The spirits are my brothers. I need no father. Her stomach tightened. Do you ever go to the world of men? She asked carefully. His smile faded. For a moment, his eyes glowed faintly blue. Why do you ask? Amara trembled. I only wondered if I could one day see my mother again. Obinna's hand tightened on hers. Forget the world above. It no longer belongs to you. You are mine now. The words, though soft, felt heavy, like chains. Days turned into weeks. Amara grew restless. She missed the sun, the warm earth, the laughter of her friends. Here, everything was beautiful yet strange, silent yet heavy. She felt trapped. One night, she dreamt of her mother calling her name. Amara. Amara, the voice echoed, pulling at her heart. She woke in tears. The next morning, she searched for the old woman. She found her at the edge of the palace again, her eyes sad. Please, Amara whispered, tell me the truth. What will happen to me? The woman sighed. Child, Obinna is a spirit who feeds on love. He chooses maidens, binds them with his beauty, and keeps them until their souls fade. Then he takes another. If you stay, you will never see your people again. Amara shook her head, her chest tight. No, no, it cannot be. You must find a way to escape, the woman said firmly. But beware, he will never let you go easily. Spirits do not give back what they claim. Before Amara could ask more, the woman vanished again. That evening, Obinna returned to her with a strange gift, a necklace made of shining stones. He placed it around her neck. It is a bond, he whispered. With this, you will never be apart from me. The stones felt heavy, too heavy. Amara forced a smile, but inside, she felt fear crawl around her heart. That night, as Obinna slept, she touched the necklace. The stones glowed faintly, almost pulsing, as though alive. She tugged, but it would not come off. Tears filled her eyes. She realized then she was no longer just a guest. She was bound. In the silence of the river palace, Amara understood the truth. She had not married a man. She had married a spirit. And the spirit had no intention of ever letting her go. Amara woke to silence. The palace walls glowed faintly as always, the water humming like a distant drum. Obinna still slept beside her, his perfect face calm, his lips slightly parted. He looked so human, yet Amara could not forget what she had discovered: no heartbeat, no warmth of life, only the cold beauty of a spirit. Her hand went to the necklace around her neck. It glowed faintly blue, and she felt its weight as if it pressed into her very soul. She pulled at it once more, but it did not move. It was as though the stones were part of her skin now. A cold truth filled her: she was chained. Days turned into long shadows of fear. Amara forced herself to smile whenever Obinna was near. She laughed at his stories, ate the glowing fruits he gave her, and held his hand. But inside, her heart trembled. Whenever she was alone, she searched for cracks in the palace walls, paths that might lead her back to the world above. But everywhere she turned, there was only water and endless shadows. At night, she whispered prayers. O gods of my fathers, do not forget me. Mama, do not forget me. Find me. One afternoon, Obinna took her through the great halls of the palace. The servants followed, bowing so low their foreheads nearly touched the floor. Amara, Obinna said with a smile, this palace is now yours too. You are queen here. Anything you desire is yours. Amara looked around. Jewels glittered on the walls, pearls lay in bowls, golden fish swam in clear glass pools. Yet all she wanted was sunlight, the smell of roasted yam, her mother's gentle voice. Obinna, she said softly, I desire only one thing. He raised a brow. And what is that? She swallowed hard. To see my mother. Just once. Obinna's smile faded. His eyes glowed faintly blue again, and the water around them seemed to thrum with his mood. No, he said firmly. Forget her. She belongs to the world above. You belong here. But she is my blood, Amara whispered, her voice trembling. His hand gripped hers so tightly it hurt. And I am your soul. Blood is nothing when the soul is bound. You are mine now, Amara. Mine. Her chest tightened, and fear knotted in her stomach. She lowered her eyes, nodding silently. But inside, she knew she could not accept it. That night, the old woman appeared again at the palace edge. Her wrinkled face looked more worried than before. Child, she whispered, time is running out. The necklace is the chain. As long as you wear it, you cannot escape. If you stay too long, you will wither like the others before you. Amara's eyes filled with tears. How do I remove it? Tell me, please. The woman's eyes darted around nervously. It can only be broken by fire from the world above. But fire cannot burn here underwater. You must find a way to return to the surface. Amara shook her head. But how? He never lets me leave. The woman grasped her hand tightly. The spirits of the river have paths, hidden currents that rise to the land of men. Find one. But beware, if Obinna learns of your plan, he will destroy you. Before Amara could ask more, the woman vanished into the water like mist. From then on, Amara lived with two faces. By day, she smiled for Obinna, pretending to be the happy bride he wanted. By night, she whispered prayers and searched the edges of the palace for signs of a hidden current. But Obinna was not blind. One evening, as they sat together, he looked at her sharply. You are restless, my bride. Why do your eyes wander? Do you not have everything you desire here? Amara's heart skipped. She forced a smile. I only miss the warmth of the sun. His gaze softened, though his eyes still glowed faintly. He touched her cheek. The sun burns and fades. But the river is eternal. Here, you will never grow old. You will never lose your beauty. Is that not what every woman desires? She swallowed the lump in her throat and nodded. Yes, Obinna. But inside, she thought, what use is beauty if I am a prisoner? One night, while Obinna was away, Amara slipped quietly through the palace halls. She moved past sleeping servants, her bare feet silent on the stone floor. She reached the far edge of the palace where the water grew darker. She closed her eyes and listened. The old woman had said there were hidden currents that led to the surface. She waited, feeling the water flow around her. Then she felt it. A faint pull upward, like a breeze rising through the water. Her heart leapt. She swam toward it, her arms moving quickly, her breath sharp. The current grew stronger, tugging her upward. She could almost see light far above. But then, Amara. The voice thundered through the water. Obinna. She froze. Her chest tightened as fear gripped her. From the shadows, he appeared, his eyes blazing like blue fire, his form no longer fully human. His face twisted, his hands clawed, his voice a growl. You would leave me, he roared, the water trembling with his rage. After all I have given you? Amara's body shook. Obinna, please. He moved closer, his shape shifting like waves. You are mine. You cannot escape me. Ever. The necklace around her neck tightened suddenly, choking her. She clawed at it, gasping, but it burned against her skin. Obinna's eyes glowed brighter, his voice cold. If you ever try this again, I will bind your soul forever. Not even death will free you. Then he pulled her back to the palace, his grip like iron. That night, Amara lay trembling in the chamber. Tears streamed down her face as she clutched the necklace. She realized now the danger was greater than she thought. Obinna was no gentle lover, he was a jailer, and she was his prisoner. But deep inside, a fire began to burn. She could not give up. She could not allow her soul to wither in this place. She whispered to herself through her tears. I must escape. I must find the fire. Even if it cost me my life. Amara did not sleep that night. She lay in the glowing chamber, trembling, her eyes wide open. Obinna slept beside her, but his breathing was heavy, almost like the river itself. The necklace paused against her chest, glowing faintly blue. She felt as if a chain was wrapped around her soul. She turned her face away, her heart pounding. I must find a way out, she whispered to herself. I cannot die here. I cannot leave Mama alone. But the memory of Obinna's rage haunted her. His voice had been thunder, his eyes blazing like fire in water. She had seen his true face for the first time, not a handsome stranger, but a spirit who could destroy her with a thought. Still, deep inside, her spirit refused to break. The next morning, Obinna was gentle again, as though nothing had happened. He brought her a basket of shining fruits and spoke softly. My bride, he said, I only protect you. The world above is cruel. Men betray. Families die. But here, you will never know pain. Amara forced a smile and nodded. Yes, Obinna. But her heart screamed, this is not protection. This is a cage. That evening, when Obinna left the palace, Amara went again to the far edge where the water darkened. She waited, trembling, until the old woman appeared. Child, the woman whispered, her eyes full of sorrow, he nearly destroyed you. Amara's voice shook. I cannot bear this any longer. Tell me, how do I break this necklace? How do I escape? The old woman's wrinkled hand touched the stones on Amara's chest. They glowed faintly under her fingers. This is no simple charm, she said. It is bound to your spirit. Only fire from the world above can destroy it. But you cannot carry fire into the water. Amara's tears spilled. Then I am lost. No, the woman whispered. There is one way. Deep in the river lies a flame that never dies. It is called the spirit fire. It burns with the breath of the gods. If you can reach it, it will break your chain. Amara's heart leapt. Where is it? The old woman's face darkened. It is hidden in the cave of the river beast. No mortal has ever gone there and returned alive. The beasts guard it with their lives. Amara's chest tightened, but her eyes burned with determination. Then I must go. I would rather die fighting for freedom than live forever in chains. The old woman looked at her for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. Your courage is strong. I will help you. Tomorrow night, when Obinna sleeps, I will guide you. That night, Amara lay beside Obinna, her heart racing. He reached for her, his eyes soft, his voice gentle. Do you love me, Amara? He asked. Her throat tightened. Yes, she whispered, though the word tasted like ash. He kissed her forehead. Good. For love is forever. And nothing can take you from me. But as he drifted to sleep, Amara turned her face away, tears sliding down her cheeks. The next night, the old woman came as promised. Amara followed her silently, her bare feet brushing the cold stones. They swam deeper into the river, leaving the glowing palace behind. The water grew darker, heavier. Strange shapes slithered past them, their eyes glowing faintly. Amara's chest ached with fear, but she pressed on. At last, they reached a cave. Its mouth was wide, black, and silent. The old woman stopped. Inside lies the spirit fire, she whispered. But beware. The beasts guard it fiercely. They are not of flesh, not of bone. They are hunger given form. Amara swallowed hard. What must I do? Take the flame in your hands. It will not burn you if your heart is true. Place it upon the necklace, and it will shatter. But once you take the fire, the beast will wake. Amara's body trembled, but she nodded. I am ready. The old woman touched her face gently. You are brave, child. May the gods be with you. Amara entered the cave. The water inside glowed faintly red. She swam deeper, her hands brushing sharp rocks. Then she saw it. At the heart of the cave, burning on a stone altar, was a flame. It burned without smoke, bright and fierce, even under the water. Its light danced, painting the walls with gold and red. Amara's breath caught. The spirit fire. She swam closer, her hand trembling. She reached out and to her shock, the flame did not burn. It wrapped around her fingers like warm light. Tears filled her eyes. She lifted it carefully, her heart pounding. But then the water trembled. From the shadows, shapes began to stir. Eyes opened. Dozens. Hundreds. They glowed red, surrounding her. The beast had awakened. They slithered closer, their bodies twisting like smoke, their teeth sharp as knives. Their growls shook the cave, rumbling through the water. Amara clutched the spirit fire tightly, her chest heaving. She turned and swam with all her strength, the beast chasing close behind. Their jaws snapped, their growls thundered. She burst out of the cave, the flame glowing in her hands. The old woman cried out, Quick, child, the necklace. Amara pressed the flame to the stones at her neck. There was a sound like breaking glass. The necklace shattered, falling into pieces that dissolved in the water. Amara gasped as a weight lifted from her chest. For the first time since entering the river, she felt free. But the beasts were still coming. And suddenly, a new voice boomed through the water. Amara. She froze. Obinna. He appeared in a rush of light, his form no longer human. His face twisted, his eyes blazing blue fire, his body a swirling storm of water and shadow. You dare betray me, he thundered. The water shook, the palace far behind trembling with his rage. I gave you love, I gave you eternity, and you repay me with this. Amara clutched the spirit fire, her body trembling. You did not give me love, you gave me chains. Love is not a prison, Obinna. Love sets free. Obinna's roar shook the river. He raised his hand, and the water around her tightened like a fist. The beast circled, waiting. But Amara held the spirit fire high. Its light burned brighter, pushing back the shadows. Obinna hissed, his form flickering. You will never escape me, he growled. You are mine, Amara. Forever mine. Amara's tears streamed as she cried out. I belong to no spirit, I belong to the living. She thrust the fire toward him. Light exploded. The water boiled, the beast shrieked, Obinna's roar split the river. His form cracked like glass, his eyes burning with fury and pain. The current threw Amara upward, faster and faster, toward the surface. She clutched the fire close as everything around her dissolved into chaos. When she opened her eyes, she was gasping. She was no longer in the river. She was lying on the riverbank, the sun warm on her skin. The spirit fire had vanished, leaving only ashes on her hands. She coughed, water spilling from her mouth, and tears streamed down her face. She was free. The whole village gathered at the edge of the forest that morning. Word had spread like wildfire about Adi's return, about the truth of the stranger she had married, and about the warning the elders had given. Some came out of curiosity, some out of fear, and some because they loved Adis and wanted to see her safe. Mothers clutched their daughters tightly, whispering warnings about the dangers of beauty and pride, while the men stood in silence, their eyes fixed on the trees, waiting for what was to come. Adi stood in front of them all, her white wrapper tied firmly around her chest, her hair loosened and falling across her shoulders. She looked different, older, wiser, no longer the proud, careless girl who once boasted about refusing suitors. Her eyes carried a quiet strength, though sadness lingered beneath them. Beside her stood her father, his hand resting gently on her shoulder, his lips pressed tightly together as though holding back a storm of emotions. "Daughter," he whispered, "it is not too late. You can stay here. Let the spirit come and let him take what he wants, but you must not follow him." Adis turned her face toward her father, her eyes glistening. "Papa," she said softly, "if I do not go, the spirit will destroy the whole village. He has already taken enough. I cannot allow more blood to be spilled because of my mistake." Her father shook his head violently, gripping her shoulders. "No, Adis. You are my child. You are my joy. I cannot watch you walk into the arms of death." Adis smiled faintly, though her lips trembled. "And I cannot watch your mama or the children of this village suffer because of me. Papa, let me carry my cross. This is my path." Before her father could reply, a sudden chill swept across the air. The leaves of the forest began to rustle, though there was no wind. The crowd gasped and shuffled backward, forming a wide circle around Adis. From the shadows of the forest, a figure emerged, Nana, her husband, the spirit. But he no longer looked like the charming stranger who once dazzled her with his wealth and soft voice. His form shifted like smoke, his eyes glowed like dying embers, and his footsteps echoed even though he barely touched the ground. His face was both handsome and terrifying, a mask of beauty hiding decay. "Adis," his voice thundered, sending shivers through the villagers, "why do you stand here among mortals? Did you think you could run from me? Did you think you could betray the vows you made?" Adis took a deep breath and stepped forward, her voice steady. "Nana, I did not run from you. I came back to face you. You promised me love, but you gave me chains. You promised me joy, but you gave me sorrow. I will not follow you into darkness." The spirit's face twisted in rage. His form grew taller, his shadow spreading like a storm cloud over the people. The ground trembled as he roared, "You belong to me, Adis. I chose you. Your beauty was mine to keep forever." The villagers cried out, some falling to their knees in fear, others clutching their children. But Adis stood firm. She lifted her chin and said, "No, Nana. My beauty was never yours. My life is mine. And I give it not to you, but to my people." With that, she tore the white wrapper from her body and raised it high. The elders had given her sacred chalk earlier that morning, blessed with incantations. She smeared it across the cloth and held it up like a shield. "In the name of my ancestors," she cried, "in the name of Allah, the earth goddess, I break the bond between spirit and mortal." The wrapper blazed with a sudden light, so bright that even the sun seemed to pale. The spirit screamed, his voice echoing like 1,000 storms. His form twisted and broke apart, dissolving into smoke. His hands reached toward Adis, but the light repelled him, burning through his shadow. The villagers shielded their eyes, some weeping in awe. The spirit's scream faded into a whisper, and then into silence. All that remained was a thin black mist that rose into the sky and vanished like breath on a cold morning. Addis fell to her knees, exhausted. The wrapper slipped from her fingers, now just ordinary cloth again. Her father rushed forward, lifting her into his arms. The crowd erupted in cheers, songs, and tears. Women ululated, men beat their chests in triumph, and children danced, for the spirit was gone. But Addis did not smile. She leaned against her father's chest and whispered, "Papa, I am free, but I am not whole. My heart is scarred." Her father held her tightly, rocking her like he had when she was a little child. "You are alive, Addis. That is enough. You will heal. We will heal together." The days that followed were filled with celebration, but also with whispers. Some praised Addis for her bravery, while others said she had brought the curse upon herself by rejecting every mortal suitor. Mothers used her story as a warning to their daughters: do not let pride lead you astray. Do not let beauty blind you. Addis, however, lived quietly. She no longer sought attention or praise. Instead, she helped the women in the farms, carried water with the young girls, and visited the old and sick in their huts. Her beauty remained, but it was no longer the boastful kind. It was the quiet glow of humility, strength, and wisdom. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in gold, Addis sat by the river with her father. The water rippled gently, reflecting the colors of the sky. "Papa," she said softly, "do you think anyone will ever love me again?" Her father smiled, brushing her hair away from her face. "My child, love is not about beauty or wealth. It is about heart. One day, someone will see not just your face, but your soul. And they will love you truly." Addis closed her eyes, letting the cool breeze touch her skin. She had suffered, she had lost, but she had also survived. She was no longer the girl who married a spirit. She was the woman who faced a spirit and won. And that, the villagers said, was a story that would never be forgotten. Beauty without humility can lead to destruction. Pride blinds, but wisdom saves. True strength lies not in wealth or looks, but in courage and sacrifice. The end.